Welcome to another episode of Dil Se Money, where Rashmi and Raisin talk the talk and walk the walk of money. And while on this journey of discovery, we hope to learn and share on how at each stage of life we can be smart with money. But as you notice, Raisin is not there. Raisin has gone to Flytron somewhere, anywhere. I have no idea. But we have a special guest today, a seasoned professional who is a practicing chartered accountant. He holds qualifications as a graduate in commerce and law and as a cost accountant. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the table with a passion for academia and enjoys simplifying finance for young minds through relatable examples and analogies. In the space of chartered accountancy for 11 years, he has been practicing for the last 3. Beyond tax, he also lends his expertise to guide startups to navigate through the intricacies of business strategies, always ensuring compliance within the letter of the law. He tells us he loves dogs and startups. Let's welcome Abhilash Lapasia to Dil Se Money. So, Abhilash, welcome to Dil Se Money.
Oh, thank you for having me here. Excited to be here, and we can get right into it.
Thank you. And I have an interesting fact for you. Did you know this is our finance minister's shortest speech, just 56 minutes?
Oh, interesting, actually. I was aware, and also the fact that she also holds the record for the longest speech, which was beyond 2 hours. The shortest being for 800 words a long while back.
Oh, okay, okay. So, when did this happen? Nirmala ji's speech, the long speech.
Oh, that was in the budget of 2020.
Budget of 2020. Okay. So my first question is, we are saying about this interim budget, interim budget. What is interim budget and how is it different from a full budget?
An interim budget is something that is presented before the general elections. As you know, in May, June, the budget of the General Assembly is going to be conducted. So,
The elections.
yes, true. And the budget that is being presented now is also called a vote on account budget, which means it will last only for the next 2 3 months. I mean, it will be applicable, and then the new government which comes in will either adopt it entirely or with modifications and then release the full budget. So what we have to wait is for the full budget, and what we have right now is more like a temporary budget, if you can call it that.
Something like a vote on account or what?
Yes, vote on account.
Okay. Okay.
It's called a vote on account budget.
Huh. So where you just plan out, like say how we plan out our house budgets, घर का खर्चा we say. So we'll be like, okay, this month का budget, उसके बाद we'll see the full year का
Correct. It is almost like that, yes. And because the technical specifications and the numbers part of it is more restricted only for the time being between today, the budget, and till the full budget is released. So it accommodates only for those expenses and incomes.
Are there any changes in the tax for Aam Janta like you and me?
Since I mentioned this is a interim budget, often the government doesn't impose major tax changes during this time, so as to influence voters basically. So the tax norms, as your question is, have stayed the same for the individuals, which is whether they're salaried or otherwise. Also, the corporate taxes have not changed, and further, the startup benefits have been extended for 1 more year. Basically, the whole theme is status quo.
When we say about status quo, is there a word to describe? What is your feeling for this? In a word, can you describe the interim budget of 2024?
Suspenseful.
Suspenseful. Okay, great.
This is because, like I mentioned, the full budget will be released after the new government is formed, and they will either adopt it or modify it. So, what is going to happen is something that we'll all have to wait and see. That's why
Okay.
it's a suspenseful budget.
Okay. So when you say nothing has changed, it's a suspense. What has changed?
On the macro level, quite a few changes have taken place. Basically, the allocations into the various industry level sectors has been proposed. What this means is there are changes on the top level, and that will lead to trickle down economics for the common man like you and me.
Trickle down economics, can you explain it? I don't know what it is. I don't know if you know what it is. So, can you explain what is trickle down economics?
Sure. Trickle down economics would be how bigger changes up will have an impact to the common man like us. What I mean to, if I have to be technical about it, let us say, for example, the infrastructure got a huge set of allocation of funds. What this means is projects will be completed faster, there will be economies of scale, there will be benefits for these companies in that sector. There will be faster movements of goods and services around. Basically, the whole sector is benefited. What this means is companies operating in this sector will have reduced costs, which will ultimately be passed on to the final consumer like you and me. So, the goods and services that you and I purchase will see a reduced cost, reduced prices. However, this will take time.
Okay. And time, when you mean, is not months or years, or how does it, like, when you explain about time?
Time would be to see when these changes in these industry levels have occurred. That and the passing on will take time. When I say time, it would be a good 6 months also, as early as possible, and probably even a year at the latest part of it.
Talking about your love for startups, I have a question related to startups. Our finance minister has used a new slogan, and it is Jai Anusandhan. Okay, so with Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan has been added. So, what's your thoughts about it?
Anusandhan means research.
Okay.
So this budget has primarily focused so much on innovation and research. 1 lakh crore has been provided interest free for the next 50 years for such startups. And this falls in line with your Make in India initiative. So entrepreneurs, MSMEs will all benefit from this over the coming years. And this will reduce dependency on imports of goods and imports of services. What this will also translate into is we'll have our own products, our own services, which will ultimately be cost effective, of course, and easily accessible rather than the very expensive imports that we sometimes face. So, again, this is trickle down economics.
Jay Anusandhan. Hope it's a big success. And there was this apprehension after the pandemic that how the economy will be affected. Will there be a slowdown? Uh, are the effects still felt? What is your opinion on this?
Actually, interesting question. Because I do realize the apprehension that the people have had of the adverse effect of the pandemic sustaining for a longer time. But with the rise in digital payments, UPI for example, and the fact that a lot of these income tax returns are being filed on time, the refunds are being processed earlier, and there's AI introduced in the administrative procedures. All of these actually, say in some way or the other, directly or indirectly, contribute to more money in the economy and the faster circulation of such money. So what this results is the fact that we are seeing a faster growth out of the adversity of the pandemic. Of course, we're not there fully, but we are getting there faster than we thought.
Going in a different tangent, speaking about AI, think in a few years, you and me, there will be AI avatars sitting here of both of us and talking about the 2030 budget. Maybe, who knows?
Hopefully, not so soon because I'd rather be having a job there.
Abhilash, I read that the government is launching a scheme for the housing scheme for the middle class. Can you throw some light on it?
The government is proposing to launch a scheme for the middle class with affordable housing, where they are encouraging the middle class to either buy or build their own homes rather than renting them. This has, of course, been a welcome change for quite some time, and we will also see an interesting take on all how the sector around it, like for example, your other stakeholders, like your cement industry, the paints, and even the financial institutions such as banks and all, play a key factor in this whole race. Because by the looks of it, the consumers are in for a bit of an advantageous position because you'll have a healthy competition, I hope, from the producers' side, in the sense your cement industry, the companies,
The
and the
companies.
financial institutions to give a competitive rate. And so the consumers should hopefully get a bigger slice of the pie out of this thing.
Okay.
But how much of this will actually turn out true is something that we will have to see in the full budget.
So we have to wait and watch.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's it. We have to wait and watch. As Abhilash said, we'll come to know the repercussions, the positive, negatives, everything about it, aspects about it soon. But we'll have Abhilash with us in a few months to discuss the full budget. Until then, it's bye to Abhilash. And yeah, we will meet Abhilash in a few months and we'll discuss the full budget in depth. So thank you so much, Abhilash.
My pleasure. It has been actually pretty insightful conversation, and I hope the audience does find some merit out of this.
Thank you. Meanwhile, do share your thoughts and comments on this episode. We love to hear from you. Yeah, and do subscribe to Dil Se Money for all things money.